And people want, like the question is, well, how do we stop this? What do we do about that? Mm-hmm. And as I began to think about that, I thought, okay, well I'm going to study karate, because we got the Blackwater guys moving in right down the street from us.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, I got to get my kung fu together. And then thinking, well, these guys got bulletproof vests and M16.
Yeah.
You better start going to the firing range, right? So then you start going to the firing range, but, in order to fight these guys, you have to shoot first.
Yeah.
You can't wait to countershoot.
And see, this has been the problem all down through the ages. You always get the people at the bottom fighting the organized army from the people at the bottom, because they're just the offspring of us, you see, who are trained and brainwashed. And the guys at the top sit back and laugh at this because they don't take part in the actual physical stuff. But what they do need, and this is the big trick to everything, they need us to acquiesce to everything they want us to do in the society that they lead us into. And so, in other words, they need our permission. In fact, they want us to be enthusiastic about going into this brave new world. And we've got to start and turn around now in our private lives and start saying no to different things that they demand from us, regardless of how many people in the majority go along with it. Those who have functioning brains have to use them and simply say no. And you'd be surprised how that starts to grow. Most people are followers. I mean, when they see someone standing up and saying, no, that's enough in this particular direction or that direction, then they feel a bit more courageous, and they'll change allegiance to those who are standing up and saying no. And that's what we must do in a peaceable way, because they need us to acquiesce to every part of this agenda, or they lose it.
Well, that's the big question. How do you fight the psychopath without becoming a psychopath?
You can't just become one, and you must use the traits they don't have. They don't have love for their fellow man, for instance. So you have to be real with yourself. And if you truly feel the caritas, as they call it, for humanity, you must show it and let people know. And
what was that word?
It's all right to show it. The society that's been created has made us isolated, and so we're afraid of showing how we feel about other people. It's time that we regained that and brought it to the surface.
Alex, did you say caritas?
Yeah, it's love for your fellow human, basically.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of, I'm pretty, it's pretty scary to love one of these Blackwater guys coming through and saying, you got to have the chip.
Well, I'm not talking about I'm talking about the general public that you want to help, not these guys. These guys are conditioned, and when they've had enough slaughter and all the rest of it, it's only then the shock sets in and they go to pieces. That's what conditioning does. It's very scientifically done to them. They're like robots, and that's why in all the Star Wars movies that you had, the series of Star Wars, they're always portrayed almost like robots. They're faceless numbers. They're just uniform. That's what a uniform is. It's all becomes one. They're not individuals anymore. They're uniformly made. So you've got to bypass them and go to the ones above. And it's the ones who lead them and demand that you give allegiance to this system that you must stand up to and say, no, we're not going along with this because we know what's happening. These are the guys we must go to. The soldier at the bottom has got to be bypassed, or you simply have the guys at the bottom fighting the guys at the bottom, as always.
Yeah, you're really starting to go beyond, you almost go into spiritual, occultic type of, like a war that's happening, beyond the physical sometimes, I think,
We're in it. There's more to humanity than at least there used to be for most, than simply the basic instincts. And they can be brought out again in people, too. We see this in times of real disasters, not the man-made ones. People naturally want to go and help each other. They do that naturally because it's a survival instinct. By helping others, you help yourself.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. That's the only way with this kind of humane type of, this kind of empathy that you talk about on your show as almost like a weapon against a psychopath.
It is a weapon because what they have tried to do, they've been pretty successful, is to get everyone into a psychopathic culture of dog eat dog until we are isolated from everyone else, and we walk past people on the streets without helping them if they fall down. That's the society that's been created, and it's all wrong. It's not humane. It's not human or humane, and it's time that we regained that because we are capable of doing it.
Well, Alex, I mean, when I run into these guys, especially these, the politicians coming through with their security guys into my little game company, and they got real guns,
Yeah.
I mean, my shackles go up,
Yeah.
and, I want to stop them from hurting people.
Yes, and we've got to do it now before it gets to a stage where they will start hurting people, and that's what we see happening. They've made the superstructure, they're getting everything in place for something they know is coming, step by step, as they unleash a form of hell on us and then offer us the solution. And that's why the Department of Defense in Britain, the top think tank, projected nothing but riots by ordinary people in all countries for the next 20 to 30 years. What on earth do they have planned that's going to cause such chaos? Well, this is a 100 years war, according to Rumsfeld and others, and they plan to have their whole brand new system of the new Borg all complete by the end of that 100 years. So we've got to say, no, we're stopping it right now. That's enough.
Sometimes it makes me sick that I've been part of this. I made these games.
Well, this again is a system we're in. This darn thing called money, they've given people no other way to get through this system without money.
I had to do that to buy your DVD,
People get compromised. People become sharks themselves because they're terrified of poverty. That's what money does in a moneyed system. You're terrified of poverty, and that's what makes you inhumane to your fellow man.
Well, I'm really happy that you have this show. It has the reverse effect of those games. Yeah. When I listen to your show, somehow I calm down, and I begin to think differently and read differently, and
it's deprogramming, and that's what we need is lots of deprogramming to regain that which we're capable of having. It's innate within us. It's time it woke up and regained its right in this world.
Yeah. Anyway, I hope a lot of my coworkers and are going to your website and looking at it. Because we're in the belly of the beast.
Yes, and a lot of people are compromised, and a lot of people are going through problems at the moment with their conscience as they understand what they're actually involved in. Yeah. So thanks for calling.
Yeah, thanks, Alex.
Bye now. And we've also got Steve in Ontario. Are you there, Steve?
Alan.
Hello, Steve.
Yes, I'm here, Alan.
Yeah, can you go ahead?
Good evening. And another example of what I think would be predictive programming. I know you touched on this last weekend. There's a game called Shattered Union, which is forecasted in the future. I think it's probably about 2015 or somewhere around then. And it talks about terrorism in the U.S. and martial law is the theme of the game, and how some of the states seceded from the U.S. Very interesting just to go to, if you were to search on Shattered Union, and you could see flash videos of the video game. I think it came out about a year ago.
Yep.
And it's almost like I said, a predictive program of what may be to come, which is interesting. And it may be a game that was released from some of the big game developers.
Yes, before that even came out, some years ago, there was a movie came out. I think Bruce Willis was in it. And I never went to see it because I knew exactly what it would be all about. And sure enough, it was a lockdown of an entire city by the military long before 9/11 came along. And it was getting everyone ready for what was happening today with the military in charge and martial law and all the rest of it. So this is all of these things together are parts of the same predictive programming, so that the generations who grow up in it, do you realize that shortly young people will think it's always been this way, that you go into a subway and there's guys there with machine guns and all this and searching people. They'll think that's the natural way because it's all they will know. It's all they will know. And that's why we have to stop this now before that generation gets to that stage. Because once that's happened, the following generation, it will be even easier with them. That will be the natural, being searched and scanned and all the rest of it everywhere you go. And that's what they intend to do. And they're on their way. We've got to stop it now. and it's all predictive programming, that they're giving these games out to the children, getting them ready for it, and they'll think nothing of it. It'll seem quite natural as we go into a totalitarian form of existing.